Right, anyway, hello again. It is me that just ran on Uncharted. Resident Evil.
This is Uncharted 4.
Yes, this is Uncharted 4. I'm joined with Hutch T.
Hello.
Who is going to help me explain this fantastic video game. So I'll just get started because I'm very eager to play. I'm very excited. So we're going to use the speedrun mode because having the speedrun timer on screen is useful for some spots, but it's also needed for verification. I'm not going to PB, but just in case. So the timer starts when I skip the first cutscene, so I will give you a countdown. 3, 2. Oh wait. Hold on. Okay, I was making sure you had the delay set to you.
Good start.
I was making sure you had the delay set to you. Right. 3, 2, 1, go. So this is Uncharted 2, the best Uncharted game. It's not Uncharted 4, because that game sucks.
And the start of this game is also probably the most boring out of all of them.
Yeah, but at least it has some tricks.
Got,
technically, unlike Uncharted 1's intro, you can speed this one up. It's not just an auto-scroller. Even though it may look like it's an auto-scroller. So we do a little trick there to jump to skip the pipe. Saves a few seconds. Could also do it here, but I didn't get it. You can jump straight to the pipe sometimes.
Just had a request for you to put on a skin as well, Matt.
You said that?
French.
Oh, I was going to French, but I decided to just use the regular one for this one. Because usually I do use a skin, but I'm just going to stick with classic Nathan for this one. You want me to put on a skin? What skin? Don't say Cameraman Jeff. I would love to, but I can't do that. I don't have Jeff. I don't have Cameraman Jeff.
That might be a curse, though.
Oh, excuse me? Okay.
Yeah, so this bit's really annoying because you have to time... So when you get onto that seat, if you hold the left stick down in a particular angle, Nate will reach up, but if he hasn't quite reached up far enough, if you jump, he won't jump to the next seat. He will just jump down.
Also, I'm not using that skin. Wetsuit Elena. I can do Wetsuit Elena. I'm not using Donut Drake. I'd like to be able to see where I'm going.
The next skip that Matt's going to do is a bit temperamental, but sometimes you can get it on the first go. So there's usually a cutscene here. You usually walk into the trailer of that train there, and it will start off a cutscene in which you have to climb up and hit the floor, basically, by the cliffside. But Matt's going to do a trick here that can be quite hard to do. So he's just climbed up onto a ledge that shouldn't be climbable, and there's a really weird collision on top of the train. And you have to be careful because if you don't jump properly to get off the top of the train, you will slide off to your death. But what tends to happen here, the game doesn't expect you to be there, it expects you to have hit the cutscene. So the camera messes up, so every now and again you have to use the inspect camera mode to be able to see where you're going, basically.
I mean, you probably could get through it without using that, but it's a lot more easier to use it.
To be fair, sometimes it can be a bit... It kind of throws you off, so it's always good to just use it once in a blue moon just to see where you're going. And the good thing about that skip as well is that...
what? Excuse me?
Nate's animation for... Normally, if you hit that cutscene, Nate's animation is that he staggers through the snow and he walks very slowly because he's injured. But if you do that skip, the game doesn't know that you're at that stage yet, so you keep your normal running speed, which is really handy because I don't know how much time it loses. It's probably like an additional, what, 40 odd seconds?
I think you can still blind fire, can't you? Whether you do that or not.
You can, but I mean.
Basically, if you hit the cutscene normally, it makes you walk slow because it still acts as if he's really injured because he's not meant to be climbing at that point. But since we skipped that trigger, he still keeps his jogging speed, so it saves some time. And it skips the cut. It's about 25-30 seconds. Yeah, what French said, something like that.
So there's another skip coming up that Matt's going to do. So usually the normal scene that plays out here is, I believe, when you get to the end of the train, does he fall through the floor?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that triggers a cutscene. It's a little bit on the slow side, but what we're going to do is we're going to quite kindly climb up through the ceiling of the train where we're not supposed to climb up, as Matt will demonstrate. There we go. So he's just climbing through there. You shouldn't really be at this point, and then you can just jump across and trigger the cutscene and go on to chapter 2.
The best chapter.
Yeah. So there's a couple of tricks, I think, during this level. There's a small out of bounds here that saves a little bit of time. There's also a cutscene skip, and we've now got Elena instead of Nate. So,
yay! Exciting times.
Because Elena is back.
Spider Drake.
What?
Nate.
Oh! So yeah, we don't know why that happens, but for some reason they turn upside down and act like Spider-Man.
Right? We must have made a wrong turn somewhere. Hey, now what do you bet that?
Now we have to wait for this guy.
And from there,
best character in the game. Spider Elena.
In like Flynn, right? What? In like Flynn.
The voice of Nate stays in this, doesn't it? It don't change.
Yeah, it's still Nate's voice.
So Elena's doing a really good impression of Nate at the moment. Just with boobs and blonde hair.
Almost there. You ready? No guts, no glory.
This chapter does have quite a few tricks that we can do. The first one coming up, I'm probably not going to get because I suck at it, but
we're good.
It skips like 10-second cutscene, something like that.
It's very precise.
I'm going to checkpoint restart. Oh, well, I ain't saving time anymore because I changed my skin, but it makes Flynn get a bit closer.
It's probably only about, what, 2-3 seconds, but it's still 2-3 seconds, so... In normal circumstances, you would save that time there. If you get ahead of Flynn here as well, we don't block you, but sometimes it's a bit difficult to get ahead of him, and he can get in your way when you're climbing up.
This is the way to the courtyard. Well, we're not going this way. Not if you want to.
So yeah, this skip coming up, it is quite precise. You can also fall to your death a number of times as well, and if you're going through like a pretty bad patch when you're running this, it can be quite frustrating. But we restart checkpoint there, so the camera's at the right angles, so that this is easier to do. Right, it looks like... Matt was close, but what can happen is sometimes it looks like you're going to get the skip, but the game will force you back into where the cutscene triggers. But if you hit a specific point on that wall and roll past it, and if you spam circle, you can get past Flynn, and when you get to this area...
I actually don't know what causes the cutscene to be skipped. I just know it's got something to do with taking cover on the wall.
Well, I've got a feeling it's to do with Flynn.
Probably.
Because when you hit that specific angle, you touch... Well, you don't necessarily touch Flynn, but... Yeah, right, so this one's quite interesting. So, depending on the angle that you approach Flynn, you can use him to actually cover clip through the door, as Matt would demonstrate now. So, basically, for some reason, the game... I think it's that the game doesn't really know where you are at that point because you're technically walking into Flynn. So when you cover... It's almost like the collision of the door disappears, and you just cover inside the door up against the wall that's by it, and you can actually skip that point.
Also, just after that, I vaulted over the wall, and then I used D-pad up, which is the inspect button, to allow me to get a slight invisible platform under me, so I could jump off of it, and that allowed me to skip the cover tutorial. Oh, okay.
So here, the ideal scenario is that you're in front of the enemies here when you're punching them, because if you get behind them, you get a really slow animation that you take them out silently, but it's almost too silent. It takes way too long. If you punch them from the front, then they're dead within a couple of seconds. But if you kill them from behind, it's normally about several seconds for the animation to finish.
You want to get this one? wait here.
I've got to say, it's so weird watching Elena.
So what
do
I've
these
realised
things.
as well is the past few runs that I've done, I actually didn't even get to 22 because I rage quit. So I haven't practiced any of that, but it should be okay.
It's off.
To be fair, I think you've been quite generous with the estimated time.
Yeah, it
But
should be fine.
this game is the hardest one out of the entire series.
You got it.
It's quite technical in some respects.
Hurry.
They look dead,
Okay. Okay.
but I mean, look, they're lying on the floor. They don't even look like they're sleeping. They look like that was a one-punch kill. Elena is one-punch woman.
Oh, this part, you know.
Get across this court.
Yeah, this part. So you can get through this really quickly. Like in a normal playthrough, you'd be worried about getting spotted by the enemies, but as long as you follow this path, it's quite easy to avoid them. You just got to be careful. The moment that one of the guards hears you and makes a sound, that's when you should be worried because you have to get to the window pretty quickly because they'll normally spot you.
You looking? No, he's not. What are you doing?
Oh dear, that's not good.
He might see me. No, he's absolutely blind.
Yeah,
That would have worked, but I was trying to look towards the guard at the bottom and
yeah.
to see if he would turned around, and it failed.
All right. Let's take these.
There's also a mini skip here, but it only saves a couple of seconds really. See, normally you'd have to push the cart, but if Matt does this correctly, yeah, he did. You can you don't have to wait for Flynn.
Also, there is something you can do, but I don't usually go for it. If you leave that last guard alive and then climb up, and then kill him once you're up here, Flynn will jog to this to put the rope in place, which saves a few seconds. Yeah, but it's really risky because if you don't get the skip straight away, you'll get spotted and fail. So I don't usually tend to do it.
So you got the next skip coming up. I don't know if you want to explain that one.
Well, I'll do it the same way you do it, don't I? Or
I think so. It's up to you.
well,
I
basically,
can talk about it if you want.
I'm gonna basically cover clip through this wall and try to jump at a specific angle so I can end up outside on here. So that used to be a lot more difficult, but it's pretty easy now.
Yeah, I think for the fact that was it yourself that found a consistent way of doing it.
Well, I found a way to make it so you would hold the stick and then press circle to get out of cover. And since once you get out of cover, you can airwalk for a few seconds or a second. You can turn your direction in midair and then jump. And that made it a lot more consistent than just hoping you would jump in the right direction once you click there.
Because the frustrating part is if you click that wall and then you mess it up and you fall to your death, you then have to do the, shimmying along the edge of the wall there and doing all of that again to get to that point. And at that stage, if you've got to do that, you might as well have just gone the normal way round because it would have taken too long to keep trying to do it.
So I checkpointed restart there, so Flynn puts the rope there without me having to wait for him to do it. It doesn't save that much time.
It's helpful though because it does take a little bit of time to throw that up. I mean, it's only a few seconds, but it can be annoying waiting for him to sit there waving his rope around. That sounds really wrong. I never said anything.
I wonder if I'll get the camera bug. Oh, okay.
No, you're okay. You can get a camera bug here. We haven't quite worked out what causes it, but basically, when you shoot the guard when you're hanging from the railing, you shoot him, and it almost looks like the camera's going to be normal. But then when you climb over the wall and land on the roof, the camera bugs out, and the camera will zoom out. And at that point, it becomes really frustrating because you have to keep using D-pad up because there's a very high chance you're just going to run off the edge of the roof and drop down.
Just doing my cardio.
Hello, Rob.
Okay.
Is it really good value watching Matthew run Uncharted 2? Of course it is. Because you're getting 2 for the price of 1.
Ladies first.
Well, one for the price of one. It's a fantastic game, but bad price.
Yeah, but you're getting two wonderful people talking over it.
Here we go.
Wow, you actually called me wonderful, thanks.
Yeah,
Such a nice guy.
you are, aren't you?
I think so.
Damn it, Flynn.
I don't know.
You don't sound too sure.
Okay, now I'm screwed.
So one thing I haven't pointed out yet, which probably
Think.
should have, but can you jump, please? Thanks. So every time you jump from a high height, you will get a rolling animation when you land. We can cancel this by aiming as we hit the ground or using inspect. That probably saves a decent amount of time across the entire game. It's just doing that. So like right there, I would have got a roll, but I D-pad up, so I inspected and I didn't roll.
How do I get out of here? There we go.
Thanks, Rob. But Matthew is as well.
Oh me.
Such a bully.
Right, so that was chapter 2. Now we're on chapter 3. This is where things get interesting.
Yeah, so there's quite a lot going on this particular stage.
You're gonna have to talk really
one
fast,
of-
Warren.
Yeah, one of the first major skips in this is the journal. What do you call it?
The journal is
launch.
very broken. Put it that way.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
You can use the journal to do like two main things. You can airwalk with it, which gets you in a number of places that you shouldn't really need to be. And the other one is the journal launch, which means that you can gain quite a boost in height to get to areas that would either normally take a little bit of a distance to travel to get to,
You brought a hooker to church?
or just normally inaccessible. But the journal launch is the first one that's coming up. So Matt's going to clear the enemies in this area as quickly as possible. Once he's cleared them, he's gonna step onto a particular spot and do the first journal launch, which is handy as well because not only will this stop certain cutscene triggers, it will also stop enemy spawns. And it's actually quite a big skip, really, thinking about it.
I don't. To be fair, I haven't done this part normally in so long. I don't actually remember what you skipped, but I'm assuming it saves a decent amount of time.
Just to note as well that you can use the journal to walk off of ledges, and you can actually walk out further than you should be able to, and you'll float in the air. And this will allow you to actually jump on the spot as well, so you can actually jump from that position. So what Matt's done there, sorry, is actually skip a portion of the game that would spawn enemies in this area. He's now going to pick up an AK, and he's going to use the AK to gain some height. He's going to use a journal walk off of this platform in order to skip having to actually trigger any of the stuff in this area. Because in order to advance normally, there's a ladder on the right that you'd have to climb, but you need Sully for that, usually.
I'm gonna do it again here to skip this next fight too.
Oh, that looked really close then.
Don't worry, Warren. It's never close. It's always fine. Even though I have died there once, but that's okay.
I think I see the camp up ahead.
So yeah, again, we've got another fairly hefty skip here. In fact, we've got two. The first one here is another journal launch.
Which you shouldn't technically be able to do because you're not meant to use the journal in combat, but for some reason
No.
you can in this section. Don't know why.
That's enough of this shit. Shut up, would you? I'm sick of
So we need to grab both the pistol and the AK. This is very important for the actual airwalk in this game. I know I have been walking in the air, but that's not the proper airwalk yet. That's coming up in a second if I can actually, be good at this video game for a second. Thank you.
Will you be playing it safe up here, or will you be...
No, I'm not
going-
taking the checkpoint.
Yeah, so you can do one of two things. You can either play it safe and hit a checkpoint up here, which gives you, which puts you right by where we need to do the skip, or you just go in balls deep, basically, and just do it. I mean, it's not that much of a loss.
I mean, if you do it first try and fail it and then do it the second try, that's basically the same time as actually just hitting the checkpoint and getting it first try. So
Yeah. The checkpoint you normally trigger, if you're doing it normally, you'd have to do an area that's like the ruins. You'd have to clear that and get the resin. But yeah, you completely avoid it here.
shit.
So what Matt's done here is he's messed
Unbelievable.
up. So what he's basically done there is he's done an airwalk. You can hit a certain point of the tree that he was aiming at. This will push you down, and as it pushes you down, it actually pushes you off to the side. Now, if you aim incorrectly, it will push you off to the wrong side, and you get stuck. But if it pushes you to the left, you can then use a grenade, which actually knocks you out of the airwalk, because the airwalk is technically a soft lock.
That's
on
not
the game.
gonna work either. Oh my god. It's like, okay, when I went around the tree, I tried to aim the camera down, and it pushed the camera to the side, so I let go of the grenade. Did that before as well.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah, the next chapter gets even more interesting because that's when the start of the major skips happens. Like, we're talking very major. We skip like what, 2 chapters?
Basically. We basically skip to the end of chapter 6.
Shit! They spotted us.
That's what I meant to do the first time.
Yeah. You have to be careful as well where you throw the grenade, because if the explosion radius of the grenade doesn't touch you enough to actually physically damage you, you can't get knocked out.
Also, I should point out that once you do the grenade airwalk like that, if you don't take out a gun, once it's knocked you out of it, you can just trigger the airwalk again just by pressing journal, which is what I did there to airwalk into the cutscene.
There's a mini skip here as well, actually.
I'll try and explain it. I'll do it a different way to you. So
yeah,
you can basically at the end of this section you're meant to stand still for a second. But if we time a roll at the right angle as the truck's about to hit the ground, it will push us into the cutscene without us having to stand there like that.
Yeah. Otherwise, you go into the animation where you're breathless, and that's probably about what, 4 or 5 seconds.
The game gives you the grenades, Oz, because you skipped the grenade tutorial. So the game's programmed at some point during that section to give you the 4 nades, so it just gives you them there.
Go, go, go!
For some reason.
I didn't know that. I didn't even think of that, to be honest.
Well, that's why it does it. I'm assuming that's why it does it. So this is probably... There's a few hard skips in the run. This is probably one of the hardest.
Yeah, this is one of those that loses the most time if you can't get it. Because it can be a bit awkward.
So I need to get 2 grenades here, so I silently take out this guy because he'll drop one then. And then this last guy will always drop a grenade, so I pick that up. Okay. And now I need to journal launch onto this roof from this tyre.
By the way, you'll notice probably the highest journal launch you'll probably see the entire game.
Oh, what? Can you stop falling off, please?
You have to angle it in a way that, because to do the journal launch, you have to kind of move at a diagonal, in a diagonal like way, in order for it to actually trigger the launch. Because if you do it sideways, you'll just kind of walk off. And if you do it forward or backwards, I think you just either get like the upwards airwalk, don't you? I think, or downwards, depending on how you trigger it. So yeah, basically what Matt's done here is he's angled in a specific way. So when Matt gets to that lamppost, he needs to ideally be fairly
left. This should work. I used the black line in this building to know.
Yeah, I'd say that's
fine.
So Matt's now technically out of bounds, and he's now floating in the air. He's also running in the air with the grenade out. Now, there's going to be a specific point that will come up in probably about 30 to 40 seconds. The screen in the background will go black. When that happens, Matt's going to leave it a couple of seconds before pausing the game. When he pauses the game, a specific area of the level will actually load in. When that loads in, or at least giving enough time for it to load in, Matt's going to unpause. What happens is you hit that collision, you'll be pushed off to the side, and eventually you'll be at an angle where it should take you off to a specific area that you need to get yourself out of the airwalk to in order to continue. And unfortunately, there is 2 places where this can technically go wrong. which is why it can also be a fairly hefty time loss.
It's so convenient that these buildings are perfectly placed to line you up with this building when you hit them.
Yeah. So what Matt's going to do here, when the screen transitions, he's going to leave it a couple of seconds, or about a second and a half, pause the game. When the background disappears, he's then going to unpause. That will mean that he's actually got into the building that he needs to get into. And it's looking good. Yeah, that's good. So he's knocked himself out of the airwalk. Now the next step of this is why he needs another grenade. He needs to do another airwalk, and he needs to angle himself in a way that pushes him off just to the side a little bit so he can knock himself out of another airwalk. This skips an helicopter scene here. So normally you'd have a grenade launcher and you'd be shooting a helicopter, but at this point we're not going to do that. And there's also another mini skip here. If Matt Journal walks off of the edge here, he can actually jump across and he can avoid some climbing bits to the side.
I figured out something with that as well. If you go really far right off the ledge when you do it, you won't die from the fall.
Oh, okay.
For some reason. I think it's like there's a rock on the floor that you land on or something that doesn't kill you. I don't know.
This is basically the most broken Uncharted game.
With the variety of stuff you can do.
Yeah, with the variety of stuff you can do. Obviously, Uncharted 1's quite broken in the sense that you can just aim clip through walls. But with regards to this, it's, you know, you don't need any special tricks or tweaks or whatever else in order to do the skips. Because the airwalk in Uncharted 1, you can do it without the tweaks, but it's so hard that it's not even worth doing. Whereas this, you can do it without any of that.
So I want to kill the guy with the Uzi and take it because it's a very good gun, which I'll be using for Chapter 10. And that was actually really good because sometimes they'll run away, but he was actually right next to the door, so...
Golden Bis, you can technically get out of bounds, but it's not really that broken, or at least nothing's properly been found.
Oh, I just realised something.
What?
I'm not on a save.
There's a ladder on the far side.
Sorry, what?
I'm not using a save file.
Maybe we should swim across.
Okay though, should be fine.
Are you unpatched?
No.
Well, no, you could just create one, can't you, at a specific point?
Wait, why did that just black screen?
What? The game's getting confused because you've got a twin.
Maybe. Also, the combat is very trivial with Explorer.
Oh god, yeah. You could literally just run along and spam your gun. Although there's a couple of areas where the enemies, for some reason, the chance for them to hit you is much higher, and it does like a lot more damage.
Come on, this way. Those are resistance fighters.
So here, what Matt's done, by him rolling off and angling himself in a way, you can basically run along that that walkway there without shimmying along it.
All right, we should be safe in here.
What is she lunging for? That's weird.
Alaka, how are you doing?
So, there's 3 grenades here, very conveniently, so we take all them for our special airwalking.
What are you talking about? We're going to use them to juggle with.
Oh. Can you climb the thing? Thank you.
Didn't you know that Elena joined the circus?
Well, if she's doing the things she's doing in this game, she must have. So we're going to do this puzzle in technically an unintentional way. Most of it's just oversights by the devs of just where you can climb, but a lot of it's airwalking. So.
Yeah, what Oz said in the chat is correct as well. When the birds fly up, you can accidentally jump on top of one of them, and it has a collision.
Oh no, I think that's just random. Like sometimes they'll spawn with collisions and sometimes they don't. I don't think
really?
yeah, I think it's just sometimes they have collision for whatever reason. I don't know why. Is that even gonna? Maybe. I don't actually. Okay.
That was probably touch and go because sometimes that
Sketchy.
wouldn't have worked. So
Carry on.
No, I was just going to say that after this cutscene, when Matt's actually triggered or done the triangle prompt, because you've got water in that's a pool in front of that statue, the water will drain out of it. Once the camera transitions back onto you hanging onto the statue,
It's a key.
if you do a checkpoint restart, it'll actually put you
Let's find out.
right in front of the trapdoor underneath the pool that allows you to carry on.
I was also going to point out that you've noticed that I've done book launches and I've done airwalks, but what do you think will happen if we combine the two together? We go infinitely up in the air. Right. I'll be using that soon in this next part to do it's not that big of a skip,
We've done it.
but it is a skip, so
What do you think? You game?
Ladies first.
If you say so.
They are indeed,
Claustrophobic.
and you will get some wonderful views from behind.
dirty.
You know, it's actually kind of romantic down here.
All right. Where's the chocolates and flowers?
You never
I have
were
a healthy mind.
flower kind of girl.
Oh, you know me so well.
Wow. You said that with such
Probably.
sarcasm. They weren't even saying, it was just...
All right, I'm coming.
I'm trying to concentrate on going fast here, boy.
Yeah, maybe I.
This one's already slow. I need to go faster.
Well, it's not as bad as you probably think.
I failed chapter 4 airwalk.
You got me.
And?
Really bad now.
It's opening up down here.
I mean, at least I got 5 airwalk first try though, which it took me like 10 million tries last time I did this at a marathon. So I'll take that. So airwalk across this gap. Technically there's a bunch of ways you can get across that gap, but the grenade airwalk is the fastest because it allows you to get further ahead on the thing. So I'm going to do a upwards airwalk now to skip
A lot of
doing
climbing.
the first arm that you would usually have to do. We can just skip that.
As you can see, Elena is amazing at airwalking.
You drop down onto an eyebrow, and then after this scene is played out, it'll give us a checkpoint. Which we can then checkpoint restart to, and we have to checkpoint restart or the game will not be able to progress. So. Also, that was kind of a slow upward airwalk. You can do it a lot faster, but I was kind of not close enough to the edge when I did it, so I didn't go as fast as I usually would. But
Nice
okay.
work.
Okay, now what?
Hold on.
Okay, I think we're getting close.
What about...
What did I
jump
say?
onto an eyebrow.
Oh,
That did it.
Another one down.
Just got this image of someone like pouncing on someone and literally just grappling onto their eyebrow.
It looks like that blade opened
well,
up
it's just Uncharted things.
to your left.
Got it.
See, unfortunately at this point, Matt does need to do a bit of climbing.
You
I think
can
there
technically
is-
skip
yeah.
this, but
One more blade to go.
fuck that. It's terrible. You basically have to do an upwards airwalk at a very specific angle to basically end up on this blade, and it's just, I mean, excuse me, what?
I just missed that. What happened?
This
Did you
game
not see-
happened.
oh.
Uncharted happened is what happened, Warren. I went to walk on the thing. She just walked off.
Ah, okay, yeah, I've just seen that on the stream.
It's like whenever I do this game in a marathon, I'll do all the hard stuff right, but I'll fail the easy crap.
That's alright. I said Uncharted 1 was Uncharted 4.
Yeah, I mean that was your first marathon though, so.
Careful.
So that just lost me a lot of time, but that's okay.
To be fair, all things considered though, like, it could be going a lot
We
worse.
just need to
Well,
adjust
my
that
estimate's
other
very
reflector.
generous, so
Yeah, but to be fair, on Matt, it needs to be generous because
Excuse
the
me.
Good, that's it.
time losses are really big in this game for the major skips. We're talking anywhere from 3 to 4 minutes up to probably about 10 minutes.
for a second I thought you were insulting me.
What?
When you said it has to be generous on Matt, I thought you were insulting me.
No, no.
Yes, I understood after you when you said it.
So
I'm going to be doing a little
it's-
trick here, which Warren doesn't do, so I'm going to have to explain it. So, in this game, you can backwards cover clip if you aim with a pistol. So I'm going to use that to skip going down the whole of the statue's mouth and just get down to the bottom part, because it launched me forward on top. And I can actually trigger the triangle prompt from up here for some reason, and that allows me to skip doing that. Saves about 10 seconds.
The only reason why I don't do it is because every time I've attempted to do it, and it's probably just me being shit, is the fact that when I do it, it launches me in the wrong direction.
You have to hold, like, okay, give you a bit of advice here. As soon as you clip, you need to hold forward on the left stick. I think that's why.
Yeah, that's probably
as soon
why
as
then.
you do it, you have to hold forward.
'Cause I think
that's
I
why
just
it
let
launches
go.
you. Yeah, that's probably why then. Which I didn't realise until I realised what I was actually doing with my hands. Sometimes you don't realise what you do with your hands when you speedrun and you just do it.
Yeah.
We gotta hurry.
So there's nothing really much to say about this bit because this bit's technically glitchless because it's just running through.
Or you went for me then.
Yeah. And this is the one thing about this game as well. Even on Explorer, if you get punched, it actually does a hell of a lot of damage. Some enemies will punch you and you immediately, your screen will go black and white. Which can be dangerous, especially if you're just trying to run through them all.
So I need this pistol. Excuse me. What? I wanted to. Excuse me. I wanted to roll game. Also, Chloe teleports because we're too fast. So.
Yeah. I mean, if Chloe's got the ability to teleport through the level, I don't know why we can't.
Technically we can, but
She's a cheater. Yeah, well, we can, but she's a cheater.
if she's a cheater, what does that make us?
Legitimate human beings.
So I use the pistol here because it's a lot faster for these enemies because it's a 2-shot kill, which is very nice. It saves a lot of time compared to using something like the AK because it doesn't, like, when you shoot the Uzi or the AK, the reticle for the recoil will get bigger each time you shoot, whereas it doesn't for the pistol. So it's a lot more accurate for that.
Can I ask, like, them steps there before this chapter?
Yes.
I noticed that you jumped and he, supposed to be Nate, climbed up onto the step, like, as in just step forward. Whenever I do it, for some reason, I get stuck on the step. So I
Warren,
literally just have to
Warren,
walk.
Warren. So do I sometimes. I don't know why.
Ah, right. Okay.
I just jump at it and just hope for the best. I don't know why it happens.
That's why I end up just walking up the steps now, because I never get stuck if I do. But if I go to jump, it just gets stuck.
So I'm going to do a checkpoint restart here, which will... I was going to say, oh, it actually is Elena still. It'll bring Elena 2, closer to the door, because she needs to open it. If we weren't to checkpoint restart, we'd have to wait for her
It'll be okay. Stay with me.
to open this big red door.
And we've got the saddest scene in all of gaming
Oh yeah,
that's
Jeff's been
meant to
shot.
be coming up, but we won't see it.
Jeff dies, I'm sorry. Best character in Uncharted.
He's literally in the game for...
I promise the next time I do this at the marathon, I will collect the 80 treasures to unlock Jeff. And I will use him for the next one I do. Mark my words, it will happen.
He'll get some more airtime.
Literally.
Well, because what, in this speedrun, he's there for, what?
He's literally in this scene.
Minute
That's
and a
well,
half.
actually no.
2 minutes at the most.
You barely see him.
Come on!
It's a sad day.
this effort, you think I know?
Also, we tap, like, what's meant to happen here is you're meant to stagger and, like, help Jeff up because he keeps falling down, but if we tap aim every few seconds, that doesn't happen.
You alright?
What am I stuck on? Okay.
Keep going.
This game's been doing a lot of weird things to me that I don't understand. Like, I was just walking on the spot for some reason. So we roll here, that skips a slow motion jump.
Hurry! Up this way! Elena, come on, you gotta jump! Whoa!
My eye.
Look at that. Sisters.
Twins. One's wearing a wetsuit though, but I mean it does fit because, you know, it is raining, so.
Where's the water tower?
So I need to, excuse me, get this game is eating my inputs today. I don't understand. I jumped and it didn't jump. I need to stealth take this guy out so I can get a grenade from him because, you know, grenades are very important in this speedrun.
Yeah, you also need a pistol as well.
So I gotta get it. So we can do, excuse me. Okay. I need to do an upwards airwalk to get the skip. Can you get on? Whoa! Skip this fine.
Way up there.
And I failed it. This up.
All right, let's head to that water tower.
Gotta find a way up there.
You can sometimes get that
You alright?
that slow airwalk, rising airwalk into the cutscene, but it's quite hard to get.
Why do, okay. This game just doesn't like me today, apparently.
You're doing fine. You get to see Elena in a wetsuit. All is good.
Let's get up here for a better look.
Very nice. Thanks.
There's gotta be a way out of here.
So yeah, there's nothing really to note in this next bit. I think there's another major skip coming up. It was discussed recently a way to do it so that you can actually get the skip faster, but obviously I think I'll leave Matt to explain that one because he's probably better to explain it. But the only thing really to note in this area is that depending on
That didn't attract too much attention.
the enemies killed here, you can actually get this area completed fairly quickly. And when the cutscene kicks in where we've got the heavy machine gunners turn up, we only have to wait for Elena to come and pick you up, but you can actually, if you time it right, you can climb out of the train and actually run towards the car when she's driving towards you. And you can actually you can hit the cutscene quicker and then skip to the next chapter.
It's gonna do that thing again. I really don't understand this section. It really blows my mind. I don't get it. So now none of the enemies are going to spawn for these snipers. I'm just going to have to kill them straight up. It's really weird. I think it's like equal time save between the two. Like, there's either one or two things that will happen. When I kill the first few enemies, the snipers will spawn. And then along with the snipers will spawn regular enemies that I have to kill with the snipers. But if the snipers don't spawn, I only have to kill just the snipers for that car to spawn. Also,
Right.
I realise why Aram's just stands there and waits, because if you actually run towards the car, it slows the car down.
Doesn't look like it was going slow there though.
I don't know. That's just what I'm assuming because it makes no sense. But okay, so I'm going to skip this entire section by clipping off the train, so you can actually shimmy cover off the train like this. We just basically rotate the stick in a specific direction so we can get off the train.
And just a word of warning, if anyone suffers with motion sickness,
25 seconds.
that's pretty good.
That's some of the clips off. Anyway, so now we wait for 3 minutes. Enjoy.
Let's entertain everyone. Go on, Matt, soon.
Oh.
Yeah, so trying to explain about this a bit more. The game thinks you're still on the train when you're not.
But that's
It's
only
really
when
weird.
that's only when you've got the camera like this. If I was to aim my gun, I'm just floating above the track, as you can see. So.
But yeah, for some reason the game it kind of leaves the collision there, but you're off the train. So even though the train's gone, the train just carries on going. Then you then get this wonderful motion sickness train ride, which, by the way, interesting thing to note is that when you actually do this level, it kind of looks like the level, you know, is endless, but it does actually loop around. But the loop's a bit weird because I don't think it's actually. Does it? It don't go around in a circle, does it? It goes around in like a weird way, and then it just comes back on itself.
It's not a round circle. It does a track, but it always comes back at the same spot.
Yeah.
So we use this to get onto the train at the front, because this train is the entirety of chapter 13 to 14, and the end of 14 is at the front of the train. So we basically have it go on a loop, so we can get to the front of the train, and we trigger the cutscene that ends the chapter. So it skips from 13 to 15.
How much faster is it to do this? Has it ever been timed?
Well, this we have to wait for like 4 minutes, right?
Yeah.
I think overall the skip saves about 7 and 8 minutes, so it still saves about 4 minutes.
How drunk is this camera? Well, as far as I know, it's been drinking vodka, whiskey, rum, brandy, and some shots. This is why the motion sickness warning comes into play, because this camera will just continue to get like that unless Matt holds down the aim button.
I mean, I could do this so you feel better. Stare at her angry face. Right
Interestingly, there, I just noticed that the level had unspawned.
It
like
calls
despawned
out.
there.
It calls it out.
Yeah.
But then when I aim again, it has to load it back in slightly. It doesn't technically despawn. Or maybe it does. I don't know.
I'd like to point out I am really hot at the moment.
It is very warm, yes.
I should put on my wonderful fan that does.
Is he your number one fan?
It is. It's my number one fan.
So when the timer gets to around 3:45, I'm going to start aiming. Because technically I do want to see the train come in. Also, there's a thing we can do where if I'm aiming and I let go of aim at a specific point, I can start the cutscene that ends the level about 20 seconds faster than waiting. But it's a bit inconsistent. I might not get it. I might get it. I'll just have to wait and see.
Thanks, Oz. I love you too.
So
When's
here's the
our
train.
next
Oh
date?
wow, the train's here and it ain't even hit 4 minutes yet. That was a really good clip.
So yeah, if Matt's able to hit the right spot, then yeah, it should save a fair bit of time. Well, I say a fair bit of time. Probably about, what, 15, 20 seconds on it, Matt? Something like that?
So I want to basically let go of aim. If you watch the current time at the top right will reset to 0 once I let go of aim. If I get it right, the cutscene should start now. I got it. Okay.
Hey.
So that saved about 20-25 seconds of waiting, because usually you'd have to wait longer for the cutscene to start. I've been getting good at that. I don't know why.
Oh my god, Matt, the game's reset.
Oh wow. We're at the beginning again. Fantastic. So you're wondering to yourself, wow, so you go back to the start of the game in chapter 15. Why can't you skip to there? Because this game is gay. And they checked this, and you cannot hit the cutscene. It is not there. The only way that it's plausible to do this skip, to skip straight to this point from the start, is to trigger the fight that I'm about to do from chapter 1, which so far it's not possible. Or I'm 100% sure they store the cutscene that starts chapter 16 somewhere on the map in chapter 1. If you can hit that, then that would work also. But nothing's been found yet. I'm sure one day, you can skip to this point from the start. One day it will happen.
Well, you've already established from your experiments the other week, or last week, or when it was, when you hit the Lazarevich fight
Yeah,
from
so
a different point on the map. So
I'll
there's
basically
every
give you a
chance.
bit of a spoiler. For the final skip of the game, we hit a trigger which is meant to be a cutscene trigger, but it just restarts the chapter that cutscene is in. And I figured out that I thought that was just the trigger the way it worked at that point in the game, but it's not. The actual cutscene is stored somewhere else and then moved into place in place of that trigger. So that means, in theory, the theory I had of chapter 16's cutscene being moved could be true. So maybe one day it will happen and we can save like 40 minutes on this speedrun.
I mean, a debug mode would help immensely for this because you'd have all the time in the world to fly around and try and find it.
Yeah, but I can't. I've tried. You just don't know where to look. No idea.
It does make you wonder where. I mean, they've got placeholders for stuff like that they move them out of scene and then only calls them in when you've hit certain triggers.
Oh, so thank you for telling me. Whoever told me that you can stealth kill this guy to get the grenade makes this fight so much faster for me. Thank you. Thank you so much. Because these enemies are actually consistent if I do it this way. I say that, but then I mess it up because I'm bad. But
to be fair though, it's not too bad. I mean, that guy at the back.
He didn't die?
No. They're a bit weird, those guys with the helmet. You could spray loads of bullets in them, sometimes they just don't die. But that guy at the back, the one you killed before, the one that didn't die.
He didn't die? I thought I shot him enough. So throw a nade here to blow up the tanker early. That should kill the enemy. It didn't kill any of them. It killed one of them. It killed two of them. Okay.
Do you know why? I think... I'm not saying that you were slow at it, but I think the grenade got chucked a bit too late.
I thought that was too fast.
No. Because the train blew up when they jumped off and they were in the air.
Why is she... Why did she side jump?
Yeah, that scene there as well, like you stagger because of the cold weather. But those shotgun enemies, if you kill them quickly enough, you can climb that and you can actually hit the cutscene before you stagger. I mean, it only saves a couple of seconds, few seconds, but it's just optimization.
So, in this part, you're usually just meant to walk, but if we hold the inspect button, we can actually press circle to roll, which you're not meant to do. You're not meant to be able to roll here, but we can if we inspect first, for some reason. And you can also jump up these stairs, like that. For some reason, also. I wonder how much rolling here actually saves. I don't think that'd be a second.
I'd imagine it's gonna be a fair chunk because you walk pretty slowly. And technically speaking, when you're rolling, you're getting the full motion of the roll as opposed to a slower roll. So,
right, so I'm gonna try and do the hardest skip in the game. I'm not gonna try it a bunch. I'm just gonna try it a few times. If I can't get it, I'll continue on normally. But I'm going to be doing. You can explain it because.
Right. So, me being me, messing around in the game, I found out that in this level, like a large percentage of the rocks in the mountain here have a really weird collision, and depending on where you hit them, you can bounce backwards and forwards. This can also actually launch you, and it can launch you very fast. So what Matt's trying to do here, you can actually skip the entirety of chapter 17 if you actually do this correctly, but it's very hard to do. It's very inconsistent. But basically what happens is, as you bounce backwards and forwards, you're hitting really weird parts of the rock which have really weird collision. As you're doing it, the momentum of your character actually gets faster, and as it gets faster, it gets to the point where the collision just thinks, oh, I'm just going to launch her and send you flying. Now, if it's done properly, what you can do is you get launched off to the left, which looks like you've gone further back, which is what Matt's just done and unfortunately died. But you get launched so quickly that you get to a certain point, and actually chapter 18 is near the area. So as long as you pause at the right point and you're in the chapter 18 area, you can unpause the game and pause the game, and it will load in chapter 18 whilst you're in the middle of it. And you can theoretically land on the spot and you can carry on as normal because for whatever reason the checkpoints are still there, so you can carry on as normal. I don't know how much time it actually saves though. Do you know, Matt?
That's 6 minutes if you get it, maybe 7 if you get it really fast. But I'm not going to bother doing it.
Yeah, it's very hard to do. You're lucky to get it. To be
Like, if you
perfectly
can
honest.
get the launch that you need, it's pretty easy then, as long as you can pause right. But it's getting the launch is really inconsistent.
Man,
Yeah.
no way we're getting across there.
Just
got
do
there?
chapter 17. Mainly
Yeah.
because the next chapter has a really hard skip that I can lose a lot of time on, so I'd rather just
Yeah.
do
Chapter
that.
18 is a bit notorious for being one of the hardest ones, but I'd say Chapter 17 actually isn't. But in fact, Chapter 17 is the hardest one to do in terms of consistency because it's hard to get consistent.
Are we talking about the skip or just the level itself?
You know where you're going, buddy.
What's Chapter 17?
Yeah.
The skip.
I
The
was
level
gonna say,
itself.
this level's a
in general is
piece of
bit-
piss.
Yeah, this
It's
level
literally
not really
boring.
got-
It's most of the time you're just waiting for this guy to throw a rope half the time. If you get ahead of him really quickly here, it will actually jog a lot sooner. Than
Did the level just deload then?
no, I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure I just watched the level deload
Let me
behind
look
him.
back on the stream. Oh, you mean behind Tenzin?
Yeah.
Let me look.
Oh no,
No, it
it
was
was
the
just fog.
yeah, it was the
Yeah.
fog. Even though technically we can skip this level, we still do a lot of tricks in this level.
Yeah.
And also, by the way, what you said, it doesn't actually skip to 18. It skips to a part at the end of 17 that we still have to do. A big skip.
Yeah. But I mean, alright, yeah, I'm wrong in what I'm saying, but you are technically right before 18, so...
Yeah, but you said you load in 18. You don't.
Oh no, yeah.
Still in 17. That's okay, Warren. You are the ultimate speedrunner of this game.
I'm not. I'd like to point out that I was horrendous and I'm still technically not great up until recently when I actually gave it a go again. This game actually made me quit running Uncharted 2 because it frustrated me so much how bad I was at it. But I came back to it recently and I actually got a much, much better time and I'm getting things more consistent with it. Except for the other day when everything went wrong to the point where I couldn't even get past Chapter 2.
I'm going to blame that on me, though.
Yeah, you bully.
What'd you find?
Yeah, you can land in 18, but it's hard enough doing the skip the way it is now. Let alone like that.
The Chintamani stone.
That's like segmented strats, if that was the case.
Do you reckon there'll be a bit of romance between Tenzin and Elena?
Oh yeah, for sure. So I'm going to do a little skip here. Usually you're meant to get Tenzin to boost you up this, but we can just skip that by abusing the triangle prompts in this game because they're really weird. And you can actually use them, this one specifically, to get up a bit on this ledge so I can grab the ladder. It's just not working. I'm very bad at it, apparently. This used to be really easy. Now I can't do it anymore. There we go. That probably didn't save time anymore, but that's okay.
For French, we all know that Chapter 17 skip is... It's probably like one of the worst finds in any of the Uncharted. It's good in the sense that it skips a lot, but it's bad in the sense that it's horrible to do. And I'm partly to blame for finding out the fact that you can use the rocks to bounce around like an idiot.
I got you. Yeah, there you go. You owe me one.
So I hold my hands up.
So
It's
this rope right here is, if you've played this game casually, this rope is very notorious for being shit in the sense that it's very easy to die. Because you'd expect that you're meant to swing further on the rope before you jump off to make it across, but this rope is the complete opposite. You have to jump off sooner to get enough distance to make it to the cutscene. For whatever reason, if you swing the rope fully and then jump, you will not make it.
Okay, we're even.
Oh, okay.
It's a ropey rope.
Ropey rope. So after this part here, the next room we get into, that's where the skip would actually put us in. So it would skip all of what I've done now, this cutscene, and then some more climbing. Which is about 5-6 minutes.
This, what did this?
Getting cold now.
Yeah.
Poor baby.
Tenzin, we gotta get more.
Everything you needed to know about jumping off ropes, I learned from UC. You learned from UC2. It's rope simulator.
Oh, this chapter's rope simulator.
Yeah.
So, if anyone's played this game, you know this section is like, it's a guardian or a big, massive, what I don't know what you'd call it. That you're meant to go all the way around and you have to fight it, but you can just skip this entire section by just rolling up a rock. I don't know what they were doing when they made this game, because some of the skips in this game just are literally stupid, because you're meant to basically do some stuff to get on top of there to get across this ladder, but if we just roll at this rock, you can just climb up and skip it. I just don't understand what they were... Okay. No point. It is. It's very good. Very good game. Very well made. 10 out of 10 esports ready.
An unintentional way of climbing up. Made only possible by the developers.
Exactly. We do a little journal walk here to get around this climbing part. Saves a little bit of time.
And this is also why we use the timer here as well. It's a, well, other than the verification thing, but the timer here, when you're climbing them stairs, it actually gives you an indication as to when a checkpoint's restarted, and if you're going to get a small boost from a restarted checkpoint, then that's a good indicator. So up and coming now is one of the reasons why I quit this a long time ago, but I'm now okay with. And this is also one of the reasons why I say that I'm shit at the game, because everyone else didn't really seem to have too much of a problem with it.
You say everyone else, you mean me and Aaron's. Because even to this day, Fred still can't do this consistently, so...
But he can
No! Don't
clip.
Oh.
That was close.
Wow. I was about to be dead.
So yeah, this can take a little bit of time. It does require a bit of patience as well. Patience of which I'm very impatient.
So explain.
So what Matt's going to do, and why it's the hardest skip in the game, he's going to do like a backwards clip through this tiny bit of wall that he's at. Now if he times it perfectly, he can roll left, and as he does that, he can actually jump, and he can be out of bounds, and he can be standing on a ledge, and we use this to skip through the most of chapter 18. So I'm going to be quiet here because right, so what Matt's just done here, he's gone out of bounds and gone to the lower levels, and he's hit a point in which he can grapple onto a ledge. If he rolls at the wall, he can actually hit a checkpoint right here, and this skips most of chapter 18. It's actually a fairly large skip, I think. Is that right? Is it?
It was about 6 minutes or something.
Yeah. It can also be a run killer, because if you've had some decent times and then you've got to this point and then you start losing all that time because you can't get that out of bounds, it does lose you a lot of time. But yeah, it was very nicely done.
Well, I did that first try my PB, so...
Yeah, but still, it could have took a lot longer.
What was it, second or third
try? It was second try.
Oh, nice! Oh, nice. Well, I could have hit the cutscene, the checkpoint faster, but for some reason when I rolled off the second ledge, she didn't clip into the wall for some reason, so I had to...
It's one of the hardest skips to do in the game.
That pretty much everyone does, or most people do in RTA, whereas 17 skip is like... For me at least, it's like if I'm on a shit run, I'll go for it. because it can save me all the time that I've lost. Is basically
Yeah.
what it is. I'd like to make it a thing I do in every run, but I'm bad at it. Or at least getting the launch.
So Matt's going to do an upwards airwalk here. If he aims this properly and gets the right angle, he'll go straight into the cutscene that finishes this area. Rather than
Skips
having
about
to...
like a minute and 20 of waiting.
Yeah.
Or like that. Because you have to wait for that platform to lower down, but the trigger for when you jump on it is already on it before it even comes down, so you can just... Like, PS3 does this a different way. You can actually... If you skip the cutscene or skip getting across with Tenzin, that platform is on the ground and you can just jump on it. It's not up
Really?
yeah, it's not on the ceiling if you on PS3. You should do it a different way, but like that way is still technically faster, but because PS3 has a different airwalk that was patched because it could be used in multiplayer, which involved holding, like, you could mash D-pad up the inspect button to airwalk, and you could also hold a grenade and do it, and it was a lot easier. But they patched that. But still, PS4 is still faster because
For various reasons, it's still faster and it's more comfortable to run
really,
PS4 version only because of the 60 FPS. Because the FPS in the PS3 version is not consistently 30. And that, I think that bothers me ever so slightly. I'm used to 60 FPS.
oh
or
my,
higher
these
FPS
enemies, dude.
See, this game's got a tendency as well that if you get punched by an enemy and you get stunned by them, like, they will keep punching you and keep you on the spot. It's really annoying.
Yeah, but it's like there, I'm blind firing him, so he should be stunned for me shooting him, but he just hits me anyway.
So we've got, so this area is largely without any major skips other than towards the end of when we're having to deal with the tank. You can take a bit of a shortcut that saves a bit of time. And was it yourself that found the
fast tank stuff? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
There's a faster, or well, it is technically faster. And
It's
also more
technically a
consistent.
skip too, because you're not meant to do it.
No. The idea behind it is that you're meant to follow the tank all the way to the end and avoid getting shot by it, but if you take this shortcut, as long as you don't take too much damage from the tank, you can actually get to the last area and pick up all your RPGs that you need to blow up the tank, and actually kill it far quicker than the game intends you to do it.
Like I'm literally shooting. Now he's gonna get. Okay, I did kill him. Literally shooting.
Do those grenade launcher guys shoot you directly in your face if you're standing right in front of them?
No, I don't think so. Did I miss a guy? Yeah, of course I did, because it completely threw me off.
See, I always forget to... I worry about checkpoint restarting here in case I've missed someone.
Well,
is there an indication to know
no,
when...
but I count the enemies.
Right.
There's two that come up the ladder. And then there's the one to the right, like on the bottom ledge below that guy. And then there's the three in the house. I thought one of the grenades killed one of the ones in the house, but apparently it didn't. And the only reason I knew I couldn't restart because Tenzin wasn't actually coming. He wasn't there. Also, what I said to you before, I think, if you see Tenzin sprinting, then you can restart.
That's a good point, actually. I never thought of that.
You move, please.
Yeah, because he don't really move, does he, until they've all died? So yeah, if you're moving too slowly here, if you try to get past this point, the tank will shoot you and kill you, but generally speaking, if you run through there really quickly, then you can avoid getting shot. Or you just hang back and don't advance until the tank's already shot.
What?
That always happens to me there. I get stuck on that step if I roll up it.
To be fair, I never roll up it, so I've never done that before. I usually jump.
I thought you would have known that.
No, usually I roll and then jump, but that time I jumped and then rolled, and obviously didn't work.
So that scares me that bit there sometimes, because for some reason you go to climb over that ledge.
They made that really, really tight
Yeah.
for some reason.
And then if you take too long and then you stagger over it, the tank just shoots you with a shell and that's it. Lena using those muscles.
Big and strong. He likes to drink her milk. That wasn't actually intentional until I realised after I said it.
Matthew. PG. PG.
I couldn't help but laugh at that. I didn't mean to say that. Funny.
Even worse, right before that I said she's using her muscles. Oh god. We are a bad combination.
She's big and strong.
Where the hell did he go?
So yeah, there's technically a new route for this tank that I came up with the other day that should be more consistent, because this, even with the fastest strat, it used to fail a lot. Hopefully, since I haven't done this since I did that, I can do it, but I'm gonna do
Wait,
it.
is this the one of the video? The one
Yeah.
I mentioned right at the start of the chapter?
Where the hell did you go?
You mentioned a video?
I didn't mention the video, but I mentioned like this, what you're doing now.
Yeah. But I'm talking about the one I linked the other day before you streamed, which should be more consistent.
Well, it looked like it, to be perfectly honest, because it looked like you hardly got damaged, so hopefully I haven't just jinxed it.
Thanks, Warren.
No, to be fair, that seemed to work out, but ooh.
Okay.
Here,
Yeah.
so what Matt does, when he's got an RPG that's got more than one rocket to shoot,
Oh, come on, dude.
to get a quick reload out of it, because sometimes it does take a little bit of time to actually reload the RPG. If you switch out the weapon and switch back, it'll automatically reload for you, which is much quicker than waiting for it.
That would have been a goal by like 5 seconds if I had my splits on.
Oh really?
I think.
I'm surprised you haven't put your splits on, to be honest.
I didn't really see the point.
You never know, you might have gotten a really good time.
Yeah, but I mean, if I did PB, I could just retime it afterwards.
Well, yeah.
So, on my splits. Not that I give a deal.
There's nothing really to note for this. You'll
It's
see a lot
literally
of
an
flying
auto
cars.
You cannot speed
Yeah.
this up at all. It always ends at the exact same time.
On the plus side, the cars will suddenly look like they're made of paper. Or card.
You can die as well, and that loses your time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's not a lot of checkpoints, is there, during this? But maybe 3 in total?
I think so.
But yeah, sometimes you can get a really dodgy jump when you're switching between the trucks. And you will just fall to your death. And it will be infuriating because you've got to stand there and do all of this again. Don't tempt it, Matthew.
Trying to go fast, even though I can't go fast.
So yeah, now you get to see the wonderful paper cars. Wow, look at those floaty cars.
Look at him go!
Oh my god!
I don't think I've ever seen one go that far.
To infinity and beyond!
Wait, did I? Oh, I did get it down. Okay. Oh, there he goes. He's off. It's like the gravity just completely turns down when they blow up and they just float.
I love watching the cars just float. People say, why are you shooting them? You don't need to do anything. Well, I like watching the cars explode and then just go flying.
Yeah, you can literally just sit here and do nothing. You need to destroy these trucks though.
Yeah. If you don't, they destroy Elena. Yeah. Not saying anything. I didn't need to. I pissed myself laughing. The twins meet up again. So yeah, again, this area can lose a fair bit of time. Monastery can be a bit notorious, especially for me.
Probably for
Found a
me as
little
well.
found a little skip, didn't you, Matt? A couple of weeks ago.
Little. Saves like 10 seconds, 15 maybe. I don't know. It's a skip that skips a skip.
You got it?
Yeah, basically.
Right, quietly now. Come on.
And the skip that it skips was kind of inconsistent. So. And this
And also prawn cocktail flavour.
Mountains. Really?
Prawn cocktail skips PogChamp. So we can skip shimmying across that ledge there.
The best part about this bit as well, as you noticed there, it took about, you know, several seconds for the enemy to actually notice you'd climbed up. They just carried on as normal, as if, you know, nothing was going on, that they weren't standing on top of a mountain in an area full of ruins. Until Elena punches him in the face.
Watch this guy try to put his PP away as he's had a wee wee. Great gameplay. Wait, where'd the shot go? How did he get there?
It's realism, Matt.
Realism.
Yeah. Why would he want that waving about?
I mean, if he's about to get shot in the back, the last thing on my mind would be putting my dick away. I'm just saying. You get at the gun and fire at him, not do that. Like, am I gonna die from that? Shouldn't do. Should be okay. If this kills me, I'm gonna be really annoyed.
Oh, that's not
Okay.
looking particularly good. Oh, okay. Ooh.
I did a lot of. I'm gonna wait.
Yeah.
I can. These guys. Not really, but might as well be safe.
Be off a cliff percentage. That's a good idea.
Oh, I didn't pick up the grenade. It's fine.
Will you have enough?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
This game joking me. I can get some. Wait, where did he come from?
So yeah, just to point out, by the way, that when you're running across that bridge, I don't know if Matt mentioned, you do need to kill a specific number of enemies before you can try to pass it, because if you don't, the game will shoot you as normal, but you'll take an excessive amount of damage when you try to cross it. But
No,
when you
there's a death barrier.
Is there?
Yeah, there's a death barrier
Oh
there.
yeah, of course there is. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh, and
Okay.
this guy's taking the amazing path. The god tier path.
Oh wow, French is at it. So here's the new skip that skips the skip.
Wait, is that even gonna... Oh, shit.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah, but this wall, look at it. It
What?
indents
What's wrong with
in.
it?
The wall
No,
indents
we
in.
already checked that. It will push you along it.
Does it?
Yeah.
I didn't check that.
Yeah, you did. There was one point that you tried it and you thought it was going to do the same thing. You thought it was going to go under and it didn't. It was solid. But yeah, French just done one of his dad jokes. He said, "You're in for a good time."
Nice.
But the best part is that I love French's jokes, so I don't care what jokes they are.
Who doesn't love Frenchie? So I need to do a bunch of airwalks here, like 3. Are you serious?
Oh. Yeah, so this is where it can all go just a bit too wrong. So you need to do a number of airwalks here.
And if you fail any of them, you'll have to do it all over again.
Yeah, basically you'll go back to that wall where Matt just had to shimmy across. You can just airwalk up from the bridge, don't have to reset. Is there a checkpoint up there? There's no checkpoint though, is there? So if you airwalk up, you need another grenade, I think, because Matt missed a grenade. I will remain quiet while you're trying to do this.
I don't even understand what... She staggered on the ledge for some reason as I went to do it. That can actually push me to... I didn't want to throw the grenade there, then it didn't actually push me around to the side.
Journal launch out from the bridge. Oh, okay. Yeah, I suppose that makes sense.
I'm gonna do this second part the normal way. I'm not gonna bother picking up that grenade. That might not work. No.
No, you're too far left.
I might be able to pause. Just stay on it. Maybe. I don't know if it will actually keep the collision though. I might just walk off the other side. No, because he doesn't have any. Wait, does he have collision? Yeah. Stupid Ravens.
So as you can see, it's quite easy to make mistakes there, and you can lose a bit of time. So that's why an estimate for this game, it's always good to give yourself a generous estimate. Because what's your PB?
128.
128. So yeah, if stuff like this goes wrong, you could lose what 10-15 minutes. So it kind of makes sense, really.
I think the thing that threw me off is the fact that I forgot the nade in the first place. That put me off. Because instead of thinking about the airwalks, I was thinking about the fucking grenade on the first go.
But yeah, where Matt's positioned now, he can throw a grenade at a specific place, and you can grapple onto the bridge as you get knocked out of the airwalk. And the weird part is you have to drop down. So if you press circle, she'll drop down to the actual bridge, and then you can climb up from there. But you can't really climb up from that bit of the stone, I suppose, at the side of the bridge.
I didn't want to do that this way, but I can't be bothered to get the grenade. Can you...
Do you know what? It's quite easy to forget that you can just sort of twist it a little bit to carry on if you've missed something. Because there's been times where I've missed like an extra grenade and then got to certain points and thought, oh no. And then it throws me off completely because you're so used to a specific routine. But yeah, this bit's a bit weird. Normally if you die, the game... Especially if you're near a checkpoint, the game won't necessarily do anything with that checkpoint. And you won't hit it because you've already died. But in this, for this area, once you finish the airwalk, once you get past this wall, it will trigger the death sound as if you've died. But if you go into photo mode and allow the area to load in, the game will actually trigger that checkpoint. There's a few frames of delay where you can actually hit it, and you can restart checkpoint and actually put you a little bit further ahead, rather than send you all the way back. This next trick, it can be a bit of a pain in the arse, but I think it looks like Matt's got quite a good technique on it.
How didn't that work?
That was right next to you. So yeah, the idea behind this is that you skip a cutscene which leads on to a fight in the next area. But it's only the start of the fight. So as long as when you get to the next part, as long as you haven't triggered the cutscene, then there's about 6 enemies that you have to normally kill. But we actually found out something the other day. Well, I say we, was it?
French.
It was French. French actually found out something the other day that you can kill like 1, 2, maybe 3 of the enemy, but you can actually leave the rest. And for some strange reason, we don't know if it's because you've actually triggered the fight or if it's because you've shot at someone. But you can actually do the next skip and advance, and the checkpoint you need to get to will actually be there. So that's technically a small skip because you don't have to finish the fight there, which is quite handy. But I think it kind of needs working on to determine how many need to be killed before you can skip them. But I don't know. I don't know if French has actually looked at that skip anymore. So we're actually not too far away from the end of the game.
Thanks for the rope, boys.
I'd say maybe what,
Scary at the
10
top.
minutes at most, is it, Matt?
All right, it's all
Something like
clear.
that. Do we need Elena for this next part so we walk slow so she goes faster? If we get too far ahead, she'll get stuck on stuff and it's just slower. Might as well just stick with her. Do like a wide circle in this room so she gets around this corner slightly faster. I don't actually know if that actually makes a difference. Also, I'm going to try and do something here. Funny. If you trigger an airwalk on the stairs, you just do that.
I forgot about the airwalk. I didn't know that they do that either. I've never seen you do that.
You have?
No, I haven't.
The secret entrance to Shambhala.
I'm almost sure of it. I would have remembered something like that.
That's it.
Even though I've got the memory of a fish. Again, this chapter's not really got anything to note, but there's a
Big man with that gun, aren't you?
there's a couple of things here. I mean, you can technically clip the wall,
Can't believe
do
Lasage
that.
hasn't killed you.
Doesn't save time, we just do it because we have to wait for Flynn anyway.
Give me a boost, buddy.
And you've
Also,
also got
this part is very well programmed, so you think to yourself, wow, he's going to knock down this block for you to climb up, wow. As you can see, I can't climb here, but once it comes down, I can just climb up the wall.
Is that blocking your path?
Because video games.
Sorry about that. Great.
walking like she pooped her wet.
There you go, sweetheart.
That old poop canal.
Go on.
But yeah, the only other thing to note here is the Yetis. So you can kind of go out of bounds and you can trick the Yetis and they just stand there staring at you and they can't attack you. But Matt will show you that in the next area with the fight.
Well, I only get one chance to do it, so if I don't get it, I can't show it. That's bad, man.
Help me move this. Aye, aye. Good teamwork.
Elena's sounding quite manly today.
Can you roll? Okay.
Spoiler, there's not really much to spoil though at the moment.
Now, how did they get that?
A Yeti's a Yeti.
Who cares? We just have to get up high. It's like Stonehenge, isn't it? No. Help me push this.
A Yeti is a Yeti.
Yeah.
I would have never have guessed that.
I was going to say, would you believe it that a Yeti is a Yeti?
Apparently, Elena is Elena.
Statue of
Wow.
Really?
Yes.
Well, apparently not, because she's got Nate's voice, so I think you're lying.
You got me.
I think that's Nate in an Elena costume.
Hope you can make that jump on your own. I sure as hell
Transformed himself.
False advertising.
Now we just wait because Lynn is a slow guy.
never mind, just kidding.
A Yeti is a Yeti is a Yeti. Exactly. Nate's got nice legs.
All right,
Yep.
let's open it up. And they say, behind the door is another door.
Spoilers spoil things. That's true.
What do we have to do? Just wait here.
A Yeti by any other name would smell just...
Can you believe I'm
Sweat.
actually doing a puzzle?
Yeah, Matt's actually doing a puzzle that lasts the whole, what, 15 seconds at the most?
They made this massive room for this.
Such a little book, such big cylinders.
Although to be fair, it's probably more for the Yetis than...
Puzzling.
Climb out the floor. Come on, make yourself useful.
But then you twirl this little thing, this stick, and then
You twirl the stick,
There we go.
and then the magic.
and then Bob's your uncle. And then the statues start drooling. And here they are. So Matt's just done like a cover clip, and the Yeti just gets stuck and runs on you, and has a bit of a cardio session. Oh, now.
He's very good.
Yeah, this bit is on a timer. You don't have to do anything, and you'll know when it ends because the music will make like a very dramatic change.
Well, I just mashed triangle.
What?
I just mashed triangle to skip the cutscene when it starts.
Yeah.
You okay?
Rob, bosshead. Bob. It is like Rob's your uncle.
We are nearly at the end. Very close.
Everywhere. Keep going. Keep going.
Elena, she reminds me of a West Side Story.
I apologise for putting you really far ahead of schedule. So, if you would like, I can leave the final cutscene on. Because...
Or is there anything else that you might be able to showcase?
Not, I don't. Most of the stuff we do is in the run. I don't think there's any of the glitches that I can show off. If it was Uncharted 1, I could try and do Penguin Drake. You know.
Yeah, that would have been good watching like just the tiniest part of Nate's head poking out from his legs,
Okay.
and 2 arms with a gun, and just the legs.
Get out of here now.
That would have been good.
I couldn't sleep for days after I saw that last time.
That is the best thing I think I've ever witnessed playing these video games was Penguin Drake. It's so good. Very trivial deaths for those guys.
I remember my first playthrough on the PS3 and doing this area and playing it on normal, and I was terrible. It took ages to kill these enemies.
I know, right?
He died really quickly.
Any ideas?
Cheater.
That's for sure.
Thanks. I learnt from the best.
Is that an orc? It does actually look like an orc. I think they're called guardians, isn't it, in this?
Yeah, the Guardians. Guardians of the Galaxy.
So they're basically protecting the end thing. I won't spoil anything until we get there.
We never actually see it.
Sap is flammable.
No, you don't really get to see it, but
Did we skip it?
Warning next time, maybe.
That wasn't intentional.
oh well. Then if we skip it, then there's nothing to worry about. It's basically like a fountain of youth. It's supposed to have
This place really must have been something.
rapid healing properties and
Big
makes you.
skip, big skip on, big skip.
Haunted, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is a big skip here. I don't actually know how much it skips, but there's a large portion that it does skip.
It basically skips to the final boss.
Yeah.
That saves around 5-6 minutes, I believe. I'm not actually sure.
As you can see, the artwork is wonderful. You've got some water there that are just flowing into a load of black, and now you've got a little pool that's around a load of black scenery. So yeah, there's a specific area that you need to step into, which triggers the scene into the last boss, and it takes you to chapter 26.
Don't die. So close to that ledge. To die.
Yeah, if you jump too close to the edge there, you'll just fall to your death. This boss, Matt is likely to make it trivial. He chucks a grenade at the start there and shoots at him because the explosion will actually stagger him like this. You have to do it 3 times, I believe. But I don't actually know why he takes damage here, because generally speaking in the story he's already drank from this like fountain of youth, this healing sap, so it's supposed to make him like invulnerable, but I don't know, it's perhaps the explosions from the resin, the sap that's on the trees that is technically supposed to damage him. But yeah, on the last...
And of course he throws me.
He
What causes that? I would love to know what causes him to... No! Run out of ammo!
Oh, wow.
That time he just dropped me.
Takes time to kick in, no, because I'm pretty sure he experiments with it.
Holy shit.
It heals some wounds, or it does something. I think he feels it straight away. But yeah, generally speaking, Matt does make that look really trivial. I'm normally the one that ends up struggling on that one because I'm a noob.
Well, I tried to blind fire him when I was too close, and that was probably a bad idea. That's why I got grabbed the first time.
But yeah, I'd say at this point, get ready on time.
Oh yeah, get ready on time.
Not too far away.
And time. I beat Warren's PB.
Thanks.
No problem, buddy. Ah, my foot. So I'll let you watch this fantastic cutscene because I think we're like 25 minutes ahead of schedule or something like that. So.
We gotta get her out of here. Up we go.
Thank you for the GGs.
Come on, sunshine.
So there was a lot of parts of that run that were good. There was only a few things that were bad. So usually when I do a run of this
Save the world.
at a marathon, it's terrible. So that's why I put my estimate at 145 because, like Warren said, if something goes wrong,
You got her?
it can lose you a lot of time in a lot of spots.
We gotta move faster. Let's go.
How was
Yeah,
that a
as you
cheap
noticed-
shot? I'm literally telling the truth.
Also, you'll notice as well that throughout the entire game, Nate wasn't there, and then all of a sudden, right at the end, he's apparently done something. I'll tell you what.
When after chapter 1 he just disappeared. In chapter 2
Yeah,
I
he vanished. He's not there for the entire game. Then right at the end, he just makes an appearance. I mean, he's got the nerve to make it look like he's actually done something useful.
Elena.
He should be fired.
Rumour has it he was doing another speedrun for somebody else while I was doing this one.
Yeah, he went off. He went off for a cup of tea. He's had a few beers. Oh, is Elena done now? Okay, hang on a minute. Chuck the beer to one side, just run to her. I'm here! I've been here the whole time.
So, it's been
Hey
Always
Rob,
worried.
Warren knows I love him.
hasn't it?
Okay?
Yes, it
He
has.
knows I'm joking.
He
You
lies.
should play the hero more often. Suits
Excuse
you.
me.
I didn't say anything. That was Nathan Drake.
Nah. Tell me something, Nate.
How long's this cutscene on
You
for
love
again?
Long enough for these sex scenes.
No, it's fine. Really, it's all right. Just do
Worry.
yourself a favor, cowboy. Tell her.
But yeah, if you want to see more random stuff like this and
No,
hear me and Matt talk and take
to walk away.
the mickey out of each other
But admit
quite a
it,
lot,
you're
then
gonna miss this ass.
especially Matt, drop him a follow. But if you want to drop me a follow, by all means.
Look who's not supposed to be out of bed.
Touch two.
Matt runs this and other games far better than I ever will.
Stubborn, I'm just
That's not true.
restless.
You can beat Auntie easily.
So, no giant sapphire.
Once again, no.
It says in the
You're
floor,
sure?
it wasn't. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that was the technically that was the best run I've done at a marathon for this
Metaphor ain't
game.
gonna pay your bills.
I think my fastest time before this was
Well,
like a
something's come
139.
along.
So
Just gotta have faith.
Yeah,
I will
that
take.
and a quarter will get you 25 cents.
Twas good, Matthew. Twas
Uh,
good.
Which way'd Chloe go?
That's good.
See you later.
Oh no.
Sully the chain smoker.
Dirty old man.
What
Sullivan.
runs up next? I did know, but I forgot.
No, Rob. No.
You did good, Nate.
Rob, I love you. Will you marry me? And he says I bully you.
I think he'd approve.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Little does he know that I'm like slowly rocking in my chair with silent tears coming out,
Where do we go from here?
and the
huh?
song "Hello Darkness, My Old Friend" is playing slowly with black and white pictures. Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Oh, the next one isn't here. Okay. So even if I said who was running next, it wouldn't matter because they're not here. Okay.
Neither have I.
Good.
Okie doke.
So,
Well, yeah, thanks.
Scale
Thanks for watching,
10.
everyone.
How scared were you that I was gonna die?
The pleasure.
4.
Go off this fantastically
4?
broken video game.
Yeah, why?
A 4.